81 years ago, Marvel history began, and 81 years later, we have Marvel's Avengers coming out this week on PC, Stadia, PS4, and Xbox One, and coming soon to next-gen consoles whenever those actually get released. But hey everyone, my name is Jonathon Dornbush, and today I am unboxing this massive box, which is the Earth's Mightiest Edition of Marvel's Avengers. It's so big, in fact, that my kitchen table where I'm filming this can barely contain all the stuff that's inside, but we're going to unpack it. That said, there is a lot in this box because it actually has a little bit of every Marvel hero from the game at launch inside this box. It's just pieces of memorabilia based on each of the heroes. So we're going to jump in, take a look at what's inside the Earth's Mightiest Edition. So before I jump into every little bit of what's in this collector's edition, I do want to call out the actual box itself. It's actually a pretty cool collector's edition box that I wish I had space for to kind of display. It has, of course, the Avengers logo for the game on it in the theme of their reassembling, as well as the main Marvel's Avengers game logo. It also has the individual logos for each hero on the back of the box. These are all the heroes at launch, so you get Captain America, Kamala Khan, Iron Man, Black Widow, Hulk, and Thor. All of them are going to be available to play at launch with more free DLC post-launch characters like Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, and Spider-Man, only if you have PS4 or PS5 versions of the game on that last hero. But otherwise, there will be free post-launch heroes following in the months and years to come after this game. The logos are a really cool little nod to what's actually in this box, so let's open it up and take a look. So the first thing you get when you open the box is a top layer. I've removed some of the tape and the paper because I didn't want this unboxing to be more embarrassing than everything else I do on the internet. But the first layer is essentially twofold. You see this at the top, or so you think it's twofold. Anyway, the first bit that you see when you open the box is the actual game case. This is a steelbook featuring the Avengers logo on the front, and then the heroes' logos on the back. When you open it up, I'm going to take out all the little pieces of paper that have free codes for things. I'm not going to show you those because I might redeem them or give them away. We'll find out. But anyway, the inside of the case is actually pretty cool. It's themed after all 6 of the launch heroes. Again, you see little pieces of artwork nodding to all of them. You can see obviously things like Kamala Khan's logo, the Black Widow sort of hourglass look. You can see a bit of Hulk there. It's a pretty cool thing that, again, this whole box is really themed around the idea of all 6 heroes being part of the Avengers, and so there's a nice little nod there. So the first piece of memorabilia you get is actually an Iron Man piece. If you open it up, this little folder you get actually has a pretty, durable piece of paper, Iron Man blueprints. So the Iron Man blueprints have little notes on them, obviously from Tony Stark and him trying to figure out what this version of his armor will look like. Obviously, there are a ton of different cosmetic armors that you can unlock for Iron Man and all the other heroes in the game, but his armor specifically, there are many variations you can get in-game, some based on Marvel history, some original to the game. His base suit in here is a new take sort of on the classic Iron Man look that we all know, so that is a nice little way to see some of the thought process of Tony Stark in universe of what went into this specific armor. And next up in the box is actually a couple things that before you get to the second layer of stuff you don't want to miss out on, at least especially one of them that I will probably be wearing on many an IGN show. The first piece is just this cute little Avengers Day postcard. It has a little bit of writing on the back that says, "Finally met my heroes and one day they'll reassemble." Of course, this game is all about reassembling the Avengers, with Kamala Khan sort of being that impetus for them to reassemble after the events of A-Day that we've seen several times before the game's launch, and that you'll be able to play in the actual game. And speaking of Kamala, the little piece of Kamala Khan sort of memorabilia that's in the box is actually this pretty cool honorary Avenger pin. This is based on the opening of the game. Of course, she's visiting the new Avengers headquarters being opened in San Francisco before the events of A-Day happen. You've seen her wearing this pin in some of the footage from the game, and of course, she was an honorary Avenger, and obviously, as events of the game go on, clearly becomes more of a fully fledged member of the Avengers. Anyway, so the second layer of the box, we'll get to the big flagship piece of it in a little bit, but I want to go through the other segments first. The first one we'll do is Thor. No mere mortals should just approach this keychain and think they can pick it up easily, because it's actually pretty hefty and durable, which I appreciate. A lot of stuff in collector's editions, you can kind of see different build qualities all throughout. Everything so far has been of a pretty strong quality build, and this keychain is definitely emblematic of that. But again, I would recommend not just throwing this on your house keychain. Otherwise, it might fall through your pants pocket because it's pretty tough. The next piece of equipment in the box is Black Widow themed. So the Black Widow belt buckle is the next piece of equipment in the box, and I have to say, sort of like how the Thor hammer was pretty hefty, the pin felt really good quality. This also feels like pretty sturdy. I'm pretty impressed by the build quality of this belt buckle as well. It's definitely large, and so if you're wearing it, it's definitely a Black Widow statement piece, and perhaps you should wear it to the upcoming Black Widow film, if that ever shows up in theaters. Otherwise, just wear it in your home when you rent it on Amazon months from now. But this is definitely a large and pretty prominent belt buckle, so this is definitely, for Black Widow fans, a pretty prominent way to say, like, hey, Black Widow is awesome. And of course, Black Widow is one of the first playable characters in the game. You can check her out. She's actually one of my favorites from the beta, so I'm really excited to see how her gameplay progresses in the full game. Next, we have a little bit of Hulk to show off from this collector's edition, so let's unbox and see what this Hulk bobblehead looks like. Okay, so again, there's a really cute thing about this bobblehead that I actually, when I first took it out and turned it around, there's a little small price tag on the back here that says $2, only obviously this is like an in-universe thing, but I was like, oh, it's one of those price tags. They left it on in the box, that's weird, and it's only $2? That's strange. No, it's a part of the base of the statue, you dummy. Jonathan, come on, what were you thinking? Anyway, it's a cute little thing there. It says love from Tony on the front. Obviously, this was a gift bobblehead, but otherwise it is Bruce hulking out, which you can do in the game, of course, as well. Anyway, again, the bobblehead is pretty cool quality, and I'm continually impressed by what's in this box. But why don't we take a look at probably the biggest piece in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Edition set. The final piece of this Avengers puzzle is definitely the largest in the box, and it is Captain America, who of course goes missing. Can you tell I'm winking? It's because I don't believe them. He goes missing on A-Day and apparently is gone for years. I don't believe it for a second, Steve Rogers. I know you're in hiding. I don't know where you are, but I know you're around somewhere. I have not played the campaign, so this is not a spoiler. I just know Steve is not gone. Anyway, to memorialize Steve Rogers' presumed death in the fiction of Marvel's Avengers, there is a statue that is put up in honor of his memory in the game, and that statue is recreated as part of this collector's edition, so let's take a look at it. So the Steve Rogers statue is, of course, in honor of Captain America. On the front of the statue, because this is essentially a replica of the statue in-game after his presumed death on A-Day, it says, quote, "This nation was founded on one principle above all else, the requirement that we stand up for what we believe, no matter the odds or the consequences. Steve Rogers, Captain America." It's a pretty cool statue. I actually like the design a lot in the game, and I like this version of it as well. Definitely when we first saw Steve, I think there was a lot of talk about like Uncanny Valley. It sort of looks like Chris Evans, but doesn't quite look like Chris. The more time I spend with the game, the more I see of Cap in this game. I like their take on it and sort of his suit design in this game. Of course, you can see that suit here, as well as his cap and his shield. The statue is actually a little bit lightweight, the base of it that Steve is on. The build of him itself is pretty sturdy, but this bit of it is actually lighter weight than I would have expected, so perhaps handle it a little delicately, but it will definitely look nice wherever you want to place it in honor of Steve's memory. So that's everything in the Marvel's Avengers Earth's Mightiest Edition. It's $199.99. And as I said, sort of as I looked at every piece of it, I don't know what I'll exactly end up doing with the Iron Man blueprint bit of it. I don't know if I'm going to post that up behind me for future videos and whatnot, but it's actually all pretty well made and pretty sturdy, and I really appreciate the build of that. And I also really love that all of it is tied to each specific Avenger. It's a little bit of each of them. The story is all of theirs, even though especially with the story, Kamala Khan is the protagonist and is the one bringing the team together. All of their different personalities coming together do matter for this story and the story going forward, and so it's nice to see how each bit of them is sort of foundational to this team that we're seeing. So it's really cool to have all of them present in this box, and so no matter which Avenger you are a fan of going into this game, you'll have some bit of them, and then of course the rest of the team to show off. Of course, there's so much more to cover when it comes to Marvel's Avengers, because it launching doesn't mean the game is out and it's over. They have so much post-launch coming, including the newly revealed first post-launch hero, Kate Bishop. You can go check out the debut trailer for Kate Bishop, who's set to hit the game in October, followed by Hawkeye sometime in November, so go check out the first looks at those characters. And you can also check out the first minutes of the game if you want to see sort of a look of how Kamala is introduced into the story. I won't spoil anything about it if you want to go in fresh, but I will say it's a really, really cool opening. I think it's a really great love letter to all of the Avengers, but also a really great love letter to Kamala herself and the role she plays in this game, and I'm very excited to see where the story goes after that. Of course, we'll have a ton of Marvel's Avengers coverage as it launches right now this week and going forward after its launch with all the new content to come. So for more on everything Marvel's Avengers, you're already in the right place. My Brain and IGN.
I believe some of you know Kate Bishop.
Oh, we've met.